All right. Hey, welcome to the next webinar. We're going to be talking today about you messed up and now you don't deserve to eat. You made a goof and now you don't deserve to eat. This is a common thread that I get, a common theme that I get from a lot of people in that they will have a mistake. So like sometimes you make a mistake and you stop giving a damn and eat all the food, right? So it's like you had a chocolate in the morning, you had something you shouldn't eat at lunch or whatever, and you're like, whatever, I'm just gonna eat everything, right? Or you have a goof and you feel like you don't deserve to eat the rest of the day, right? So you have maybe you go for a burger at lunch, you're like, I'm just gonna starve myself, right? Or you have a meal that's just a little bit off plan, maybe a little bit larger than it should have been. Maybe you just didn't weigh correctly, or you just didn't care when you're weighing because you were so hungry. Or you underestimated the calories of a meal and you realize like, oh no, realize that later. Or you go too long without eating and then you destroy an entire pizza, right? Everyone's been there. I've been there. You've been there. We've all been there. And maybe you feel compelled to skip eating after doing these things. Maybe you feel like because I made a mistake, I should stop eating. And it's not uncommon to overeat and undercut later in the day. So this is what happens for many people. Chances are, if you follow the pattern of overeating, stopping, and not eating, chances are that you're going to overeat again at night, i.e., you overeat at lunch, don't eat anything until dinner because you know you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be over on calories and I don't want to be starving, or I want to be able to eat a dinner, right? Then you eat dinner that's smaller than normal because you're like, I'm still making up for it. I got to pay that back. Then you destroy the entire box of ice cream in the freezer an hour later because you are starving and you have no willpower. Sound familiar, right? It does to me. Heck, it might just mean that that you ate a treat, right? So maybe you just enjoyed a treat. You had a cookie with your coffee in the morning, and the rest of the day kind of becomes this daze. If you follow the 3 meals 2 snack method, maybe you just accidentally, or maybe moving forward, you skip a snack. So that can be one solution, right? So if you are 3 meals and 2 snacks, if you're a 5 consumption person, you do your 3 meals, and maybe right here a goof happened. You've already had one of your snacks, so maybe you just skip the snack, right? Maybe you have a smaller snack. If your goof happens later on in the day or at night, don't beat yourself up in your dreams. Move on with your life, right? You don't. What the worst thing that can happen is that you just continue to beat yourself up and think negatively about your goof and your mistake, because that will get you to preoccupy on it, and then you'll try and punish yourself for it, and you move forward and you continue to deprive yourself of food, and i.e. leading to more binging. So please do not enter into this pattern. Solutions, like I said, your goof happens, adjust your meals slightly down. Understand that you're going to go over on calories for the rest of the day. It's going to go up a little bit, and that has to be okay. It's going to be all right. Trust me on this one. Because that if we are in a deficit, right? If this is what you need to survive, this is your deficit, and you ate into that deficit, doing that is far better, right? And eating the normal calories, eating up to your maintenance is far better than trying to skip and stay low and stay low and stay low with all of your self-control, and then suddenly the shit hits the fan and boom, you eat again. You go for the freezer ice cream, right? Now, another thing that you can do, which is terrible, is to carry the pain over to the next day. I've done this. I'm sure you've done this. You overeat a lot. And so you say, you know what, today I'm just going to eat salads and that's it. What this does, it creates this longer cycle of binging and purging where you don't eat anything for one day, then you binge, and you go back and forth into this deprivation. That's not the point of what we're trying to teach you. What we're trying to teach you is that this process should be fluid, right? It should allow for goofs, and it should allow for these things. So when you mistake, so here's the process. When you make a mistake, take a breath, understand, like, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you were like, that was delicious. I am so grateful that I had that because it filled a part of me, right? Realize that you're probably going to go over on your calories. So after you take your breath, say, okay, I'm gonna go over on my allotted deficit calories today. And then you move on. You don't dwell on this. If the goof is earlier in the day, adjust slightly, right? Take a second to think how this is going to impact the remainder of your meals. If it's towards the end of the day, just reflect on what led up to it and how you can prevent it in the future. That's really the main focus of this for today. And that's goofing 101. That's how you make, that's how you get over mistakes when you're in the moment. Now, in part 2 of this, we're going to talk about what you do to help prevent that. Now, this is a really interesting conversation. I wasn't going to do this today, but I'm going to do it right now. I had a great conversation with one of our other students about this. Before I move on, I'm just going to double check that we don't have any Facebook questions. Cool. All right, so if you're watching this recorded, I'm going to pause the recording and stop this and then restart it, okay?